Monday, December 19. The Pre-Advent Judgment. The concept of judgment before the return of Christ, or what we call a pre-Advent judgment, is found in many places in Scripture. Read Daniel 7:9-14, Matthew 21:1-14, Revelation 11:1-18 and 19, and Revelation 14:6 and 7. How do these passages shed light on the notion of a pre-Advent investigative judgment in the heavenly courtroom? What is the significance of such a judgment? Daniel 7:9-14. As I looked, thrones were set in place, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was as white as snow, the hair of his head was white like wool. His throne was flaming with fire, and his wheels were all ablaze. A river of fire was flowing, coming out from before him. Thousands upon thousands attended him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The court was seated, and the books were opened. Then I continued to watch, because of the boastful words the horn was speaking. I kept looking until the beast was slain, and its body destroyed and thrown into the blazing fire. The other beasts had been stripped of their authority, but were allowed to live for a period of time. In my vision at night I looked, and there before me was one like a son of man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence. He was given authority, glory, and sovereign power. All nations and peoples of every language worship him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed. Matthew 22:1-14. And Jesus answered and spoke to them again by parables, and said, The kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who arranged a marriage for his son, and sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding, and they were not willing to come. Again he sent out other servants, saying, Tell those who were invited, See, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and fatted cattle are killed, and all things are ready. Come to the wedding. But they made light of it, and went their ways, one to his own farm, another to his business, and the rest seized his servants, treated them spitefully, and killed them. But when the king heard about it, he was furious, and he sent out his armies, destroyed those murderers, and burned up their city. Then he said to his servants, The wedding is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy. Therefore go into the highways, and as many as you find, invite to the wedding. So their servants went out into the highways, and gathered together all whom they found, both bad and good, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he saw a man there who did not have on a wedding garment. So he said to him, Friend, how did you come in here without a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then the king said to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, take him away, and cast him into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. Revelation 11:1, 18 and 19. Then I was given a reed like a measuring rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, the altar, and those who worship there. Verse 18. The nations were angry, and your wrath has come. The time has come for judging the dead, and for rewarding your servants the prophets, and your people who revere your name, both great and small, and for destroying those who destroy the earth. Then the temple of God was opened in heaven, and the ark of his covenant was seen in his temple, and there were lightnings, noises, thunderings, and earthquake, and great hail. Revelation 14:6. Then I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and the springs of water. The concept of a pre-Advent investigative judgment of God's people is grounded in three basic biblical teachings. One is the notion that all dead, righteous or unrighteous, remain unconscious in their graves until the final resurrections, John 5:25-29. The second is the existence of a universal judgment of all human beings. 2 Corinthians 5:10, Revelation 20:11-13. The third is the fact that the first resurrection will be the blessed reward for the righteous, and the second resurrection will be the eternal death for the wicked. John 5:28-29 and Revelation 20:4-6 and then 12-15. This means is that if all human beings will be judged, they should be judged prior to their respective resurrections, because at those resurrections they will receive their final reward. The book of Daniel helps us to understand both the time and the nature of the pre-Advent judgment. At the end of the 2,300 symbolic days in 1944, the heavenly sanctuary will be cleansed. Daniel 8:14 compare with Hebrews 9:23, and the pre-Advent investigative judgment would begin. Daniel 7:9-14, two different ways of expressing the same event, and the judgment is in favor of the saints of the Most High. Daniel 7:22, that is, it's good news for God's people. In Matthew 22:1-14, Jesus spoke of an investigation of the wedding guests before the wedding feast actually started. In the book of Revelation, the pre-Advent investigative judgment is referred to in the task of measuring those who worship in the temple of God, Revelation 11:1, and in the announcement that the hour of his judgment has come, Revelation 14:6 and 7, compared with Revelation 14:14-16. How should our knowledge of a judgment in heaven impact how we live here on earth?